Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
A special thank you to Gary Burger and Fries for being an awesome pledgehammer on Patreon. The wrestling world was shaken to its core when Dean Ambrose revealed that he would not be re-signing with WWE and would be leaving the company on April 30th. Now, just over a month later, not only has he had a name change, or a name reversion, I guess, but Jon Moxley has made a shock debut at AEW's Double or Nothing and now become the New Japan Pro Wrestling United States Champion, defeating Juice Robinson in his first match after leaving WWE. I say, all in all, it's going pretty well for him. Obviously, he's still got a long way to go to solidify himself outside WWE, but he's had an unreal start. Now it begs the question, are there others within WWE who could do the same but are just being shackled inside the company? Who else could break free of the tyranny of WWE and find new life in pastures new? Well, that's what I'm here for, you big dummy. So you don't have to do the work of looking up a WWE personnel list and being really disappointed with how many of your favorite wrestlers have been squandered. I know, you're welcome. With that said, my name is Chopper P. Quinnell, and let's take a look at 9 WWE stars who could pull a Jon Moxley and rejuvenate their careers outside the current company. Before we get into it though, make sure to press the thumbs up, subscribe, and bell icons to enable notifications, and leave us a comment letting us know who you think should leave WWE to refresh themselves and their characters. Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is a former 4-time Raw Women's Champion, but she hasn't been seen on WWE TV since WrestleMania 35, where she and former tag partner Bayley lost their Women's Tag Team Championships to the Iconics. Banks has reportedly been on very rocky terms with WWE, upset over their championship loss at Mania and refusing to come back to the company. While Newports have surfaced to suggest she could return to WWE by this summer, that's not to say she's happy about it, and in true Moxley style, she could very well just be riding out her contract until it expires so she can leave. And let's not forget, which you'd be forgiven for doing, Banks is a great wrestler. She bumps like a madman and has some fantastic character work, particularly when she's a heel. And she's only 27. 27! She was born the year before I was, and she's sitting with one of the more successful female wrestling careers of all time, and here I am, talking about it. Woo! If Banks did leave, she'd be a welcome addition to AEW's growing women's division, adding some needed star power and technical prowess to mix it up with the likes of Britt Baker and Bea Priestley. Outside of AEW, I think she'd struggle to find much purchase along the likes of the Women of Honor, and while she'd fit in great with the Knockouts and Impact, I don't think that's a large enough platform for a talent of the caliber of Sasha Banks. The Revival. Well, here's one everyone's expecting to happen before long. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder have already reportedly requested their releases from WWE, with the pair being denied. I always thought something WWE could have done to really screw them over is grant one of them their releases and deny the other. Luckily, they've at least kept them together, because together, they are genuinely one of the greatest tag teams in the world. Their tag psychology and technical prowess speaks for itself, and there's one very obvious place for them to go: AEW. Matches against the Young Bucks or the Lucha Bros are the stuff of dreams, and would once again bolster the company's tag team division, injecting it with that little bit of fire to make it one of the best, if not the best, tag team division in the world. The Revival themselves have teased joining AEW and seem to have a solid friendship with the Bucks already, so it seems to be only a matter of time until the pair join All Elite. Now it's just a matter of letting their contracts expire so they can shatter machine their way to some championships and not lose them to Hawkins and Ryder. Please? Luke Harper, yet another talent that is frustrated within the confines of WWE, and this one doesn't have to be a report as it came directly from Harper himself. After posting a lengthy vent regarding his treatment within the company, he then stated that he had asked for his release. That then got denied because WWE are, what's that word again? Oh yeah, petty. Really petty. Not only was his release denied, but his contract was then extended by an extra 6 months for time he was injured, which sounds like a whole load of BS to me, but then again, what do I know? I'm not a petty corporation. Harper is another talent that is simply riding out his contract until he can do something better, and unlike some others on this list, I think there are plenty of companies in which he can flourish. AEW would of course love to have him as a solid mid-card talent that could occasionally pop through into that main event scene and vie for the top title, maybe even winning it once or twice. New Japan would be a lovely fit for Harper too, combining his solid technical ability with his intimidating character to have classic bouts with the likes of Naito, Okada, Ishii, and Ibushi. Even Ring of Honor could work for Harper, though I think this is probably the least satisfying of the three for a top talent like Harper. Finn Balor. While there's no obvious signs of discomfort or frustration from Balor regarding his WWE run, fans sure are. While he is the current Intercontinental Champion, at least at the time of recording because this is happening before Super Showdown, so it might be Andrade as a Intercontinental Champion, but chances are pretty slim because Finn Balor's the Demon, and the former NXT champion who absolutely carried that brand and elevated it to another level with his feuds with Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, has become a mid-carder at best on the main roster. He started off right, winning the Universal Championship straight after his debut in 2016, but after getting injured, he was never the same. If he ever left WWE, he could find himself again in other ventures. Of course, New Japan would be a perfect fit for Balor, considering that's where he made his name to start with. More matches with Okada, Tanahashi, Ibushi, and Naito would be instant classics. He could of course also join the likes of Omega, Page, Jericho, and Moxley in AEW, where he no doubt will be treated like a top star instead of the sometimes forgotten mid-carder that he is currently. Samoa Joe. Similarly to Balor, while Joe doesn't necessarily show any outward signs of frustration within WWE, it's more the potential of him that makes me feel he'll be better off outside the company. Joe once again elevated NXT to another level after concluding his feud with Balor, engaging in classic matches with Shinsuke Nakamura. On the main roster, Joe has always felt a little underwhelming, especially in recent years. His shining moments came against Brock Lesnar and at SummerSlam 2017, where he vied for the Universal Championship. But aside from those two high points, he hasn't had much to go on, but he's never truly dropped to the bottom of the bottom. The dude made reading a bedtime story sound good, for God's sake. The guy is incredible. As Joe made his name in the then TNA and Ring of Honor, he hasn't really been experimented with outside of those two promotions. And I could see Joe in New Japan being an absolute steal. His physicality and technical in-ring ability, along with his intimidating persona, would be over instantaneously in New Japan. And engaging in matches with the likes of Ibushi, Ospreay, and especially Tomohiro Ishii would be classics waiting to happen. Of course, AEW is there too, and while he would do very well amongst the top stars there, I think his style is more suited to the Japanese way of doing things, and he'd become an instant star in Japan. Ember Moon. It feels a little early to say Ember Moon has been wasted, but there's no doubt she's not at the point she should be. After captivating NXT audiences with her athletic abilities and unique look and character, she has barely been featured on the main roster. She was last seen reading a book backstage and getting mildly annoyed by Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville handing her a magazine. Like, come on, guys. While she might still have life within WWE yet, there's no doubt her talent could be put to better use elsewhere. AEW Women's Division springs to mind, but I could also realistically see her fitting in with the knockouts on Impact Wrestling, like a four-fingered glove to the hand of a person in an unfortunate soaring accident. Andrade. Right. Andrade is my boy. Andrade's my guy. And not see him do anything on the main roster causes me physical pain. He shocked the NXT audience when he won the NXT Championship, beating none other than Drew McIntyre in the process. But that shock faded because guess what? Andrade is amazing. He completely reinvented himself with the addition of Zelina Vega, and the pair go together like peanut butter and jelly, or a four-fingered glove in the hand of a person in an unfortunate soaring accident. Andrade is one of the most consistent and gifted technical wrestlers working today, and just giving him the opportunity to showcase these talents will be enough to get him over anywhere he goes. New Japan and AEW of course immediately spring to mind, and I think New Japan would be the better fit for his style with the fast-paced action and flippy S-word. Picture Andrade mixing it up with pretty much any of the juniors. Ospreay, Dragon Lee, Takahashi, or with Ishii, Naito, and Ibushi. Oh my god, Andrade versus Ibushi, I need it now injected into my eyes. Buddy Murphy. Okay, so this one is way too early to know whether or not he's been squandered, but Buddy Murphy has reinvented himself once already to solidify himself as one of the best wrestlers on the entire WWE roster. What with his whole knee strikes and top-tier thigh slaps. The announcement of him being called up to SmackDown was an exciting prospect, being able to mix it up with the likes of Ali, Daniel Bryan, Andrade, Finn Balor, and Aleister Black. Just a shame then that none of these have happened because he's not even appeared on TV yet. He's cut a promo once, during an ad break. Great stuff, WWE, really using him to his full potential. Much like Ember Moon, while he still may have a very solid future in WWE, his talents will be very strongly used elsewhere too, namely AEW and New Japan to name two. Fighting against Page, Moxley, Omega, and Pentagon is the stuff of dreams, and match of the year contenders straight off the bat. Equally, showcasing a stiffer style in matches against Okada, Naito, Ibushi, and Ospreay bode well for him too. Asuka. Right, be honest, you forgot what feud Asuka was a part of right now, didn't you? That's because she's not in one. The Kabuki Warrior, managed by Paige here, which is still absolutely baffling, haven't exactly lit the world on fire. Admittedly, they haven't really had the chance yet, but still, a tag team managed by Paige here doesn't inspire confidence. Lest we forget, this is Asuka, the woman who was undefeated in her entire NXT run, apart from that Battle Royal one time, but we don't count that. She was even undefeated on the main roster until that streak was broken with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 34. Since then, everything has been going downhill for Asuka, and she needs to remind the world of who she can be. Who she can be, just as an aside, is one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet, male or female. Her joining AEW's women's division would be an instant kick up the ass for the rest of the division, and her matches against Britt Baker, Bea Priestley, and Awesome Kong would be legendary. Seriously, bring the old Asuka back. So those were some WWE stars who could benefit from breaking away from WWE. Let us know who you think should in the comments. Make sure to press the thumbs up, subscribe, and enable notifications icons before you go, and click the videos to my right to be taken to even more content. A special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of whom you can see scrolling below me right now. I've been Jon Quinnell, and that was wrestling.